Welcome back to the channel, and today we will be looking at the 2018 Agri Pass paper, paper 2. And of course guys, in order to support the channel, I'm going to ask you to watch the ads, or you can just go straight to my pen pal and purchase me lunch, breakfast or dinner. Alright, so let's get into the questions. Alright, so this is section 1 and you should answer all the questions. Alright, number 1. Figure 1 shows a simple aquaponic system. So as you know, the aquaponic system is a system where fish is being reared and plants are grown in the same system. So as you can see here, this is the area where the plants are grown, and here is the fish tank with the fish, and the water is pumped up to the plants and then back to the fish tank. Alright, so let's go to A. Identify the main components of the aquaponics system labeled A, B, and C. So here, A is the bin with the plants, right? So A is the plant bin, the container that holds the plants right here. And B is the fish tank right here. And C is the water pump. So you have two pumps in this system. You have the water pump that takes water from the fish tank and up to the plants. Right here, the fish tank also has an air pump that supplies air to the fish, that supplies oxygen to the fish. Alright, but C is the water pump. Alright guys, so let's move on. Alright, so part B of the question goes, describe two ways in which wastewater is converted into clean water in the aquaponic system. Alright, so it asks for two ways. Number 1, the soil medium in the plant bin separates out the solid from the fish waste. Alright, so they wouldn't refer to that as the biofilters. So in the bin, the soil medium, they commonly would use gravel or sand. So let's go back to the bin. So this is the bin here. So to plant the crops in, you need a soil medium, and preferably when you're doing a system like this, they'd use gravel here in the bin as the plant medium or the soil medium, and that gravel will take out the solid waste, so or separate out the solid waste from the fish water. 2, the plants remove nutrients. So as you know, too much nutrients in the fish water would make the water toxic. So a lot of ammonium, nitrites and nitrates are built up in this water, and to make it pure for the fish, when it is pumped up the plants would use or absorb those nutrients and make the water pure again for the fish to reuse. It asks for 2, but I gave 3 here. And number 3, the fish waste produce its own bacteria that kills disease pathogens. So what makes the fish a suitable animal for growing crops with is that the fish produces its own bacteria and fungi that kill germs like streptococcus. Because if you use like chicken waste, the germs from the chicken waste could be easily transferred to the plants, but in the aquaponic system, the fish produces fungi that will actually kill those disease causing agents that would normally affect human. Alright, and also the fish, they produces a lot of bacteria that helps with nitrogen fixation, that helps with the nitrogen cycle. So in the fish tank or the fish pond, nitrogen cycle is active, whereby ammonium is broken down by bacteria to nitrites, and then from nitrites to nitrates, and the nitrates is what the plants would absorb. Alright, so those are 3 ways or 4 ways in which the water is made clean again. Alright, let's go to C of question number 1. Outline 2 benefits of an aquaponic system to the environment. Number 1, aquaponics is organic. Organic materials are beneficial to the environment. So importantly, you should note that because the fish are involved, farmers would not apply inorganic fertilizers to the plants or pesticides, because if they do, it would affect the fish. So these plants here totally relies on the nutrients from the fish for fertilizer. All right, which makes the nutrients organic. And furthermore, these nutrients are not exposed to the environment. They are recycled and kept contained. So this system reduces the use of inorganic pesticides and insecticides. And two, aquaponics recycle nutrients and water, hence less is disposed in the environment. So one, it's organic. Two, it conserves water. Part D of the question goes, suggest 3 incentives that the Ministry of Agriculture can provide to encourage the use of aquaponics systems. Alright, number 1 says tax break, number 2 price support, and number 3 subsidy. Alright, so tax break here is that if farmers want to purchase certain aquaponics materials from abroad, they would not pay tax on those items, so the government can reduce tax on those items, the imported items. And 2, price support, which makes the government can pass laws to make sure the price for aquaponics materials are always cheap. And 3, subsidy, the government gives financial support to farmers, whether it be in land preparation, the preparation of the ponds, the greenhouses, the plants. They would purchase them or pay for those activities. So that's subsidy, which is an income to the farmer. Alright, so let's move to question number 2. So here, A of the question says, Sally Women's Group produces organic lettuce for sale at a large supermarket. Sales are low and there are 2 other competitors selling the same product in the supermarket. And one of A says, what is meant by marketing? Now, this is the method used to get the goods or service sold. Example, advertisement, packaging, labeling, branding, etc. Alright, so in short, it's just whatever the seller do to make sure their goods sold. And 2 of the question says, explain 2 marketing strategies that can be used by Sally Women's Group to increase its sales in the supermarket. So A, they could do more advertisement on social media, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, and they could pay for those, and they could do target marketing, so target advertisements. So they could pay Facebook, for example, to advertise to a certain age group or to persons who search for their products. So what Facebook will do is to look up all those persons who are interested in that good and send advertisement on their page. Alright, and B, they could do sale out or a discount day. Alright, so they could market their goods at a set a day for that where they offer discount on those products, or they have a sale out, or they could market the products, and so buy one get one free, those methods. Let's move on. B of the question goes, distinguish between gross margin and net profit. Alright, so here it says gross margin is the gross income subtract the variable cost. Gross income is all the income incurred without deduction of tax. So the gross margin, what it is telling you is that it is the income minus the variable cost. Now, as you know, there are 2 main costs. You have variable cost and fixed cost. Now, when you only take the variable cost from your income, the remaining money would be your gross margin. That's what it is telling you. The net profit, on the other hand, is when you have the income minus both the variable cost and the fixed cost. So when you take away all your costs, the fixed and the variable, from your income, the money that you left with is your net profit. Alright, so the gross margin, you only take away variable cost from that income, and the net profit, you take away both the variable and the fixed cost from that income, and the money you're left with is your net profit. And remember guys, my mouth is getting dry, so if you want to purchase a drink for me, just go down into the description and look for the PayPal link. Alright, section C of question 2, it says Farmer Lal wants to expand his 2-acre vegetable farm to 4 hectares. Table 1 shows the budget for both the 2-hectare and 4-hectare farm. Alright, as you can see there. Alright, so you analyze the table here. It has sales, the gross margin, net profit, the total fixed cost, total variable cost. And both the total variable and the total fixed would be your total cost, right? And then here you have your net profit. So for the 2 acres, that's 4,000, and for the 4 hectare, that's 1,000 for the net profit. Alright, let's continue. Based on the information in table 1, advise Farmer Lal if he should expand his farm to 4 hectares. Give 2 reasons for your answer. So the decision there is that he should not expand his farm to 4 hectares. And let's go to the reasons. So the reason here, net profit is higher in 2 hectares. So the net profit is higher in 2 hectares. So this is the net profit. So you have 4,000 for the net profit in the 2 hectare, and for the 4 hectare, he only gain a net profit of $1,000. So that's the reason. What happened is maybe he is experiencing diminishing return when he increases his input. So that's bad for the business. So that's why that could result in his income like that, the low income here. And the second point is, all right, so that gave us 1. So let's look for another one. Alright, again, the total fixed cost is only $2,000 in 2 hectare, but it doubles in the 4 hectare plot. So you don't want your cost to be doubling. Alright, that's not a good sign. Alright, so let's go to the next question. Alright, so here, question 3. It says, soil erosion is a major problem in the Caribbean. On a recent field trip to a soil research station, students saw evidence of soil erosion in the fields. A. 1. Outline 3 causes of soil erosion. You have 1. Wind, 2. Water, 3. Human activities, and the 4th one would be agriculture. So once you're going to do farming on the land, you plow the land, clear the land, you're exposing the land to soil erosion. So as a farmer, you should always prepare to conserve your soil. The second part of the question says, suggest one effect of soil erosion on crop production. And it says, wearing away of fertile topsoil and nutrients. So of course, your nutrients will be washed away. Your fertile topsoil that you need for your plants will also be washed away, which is bad. Alright, B of the question goes, Farmer Jane cares for her tomato crops by applying adequate fertilizer, water, and pesticides. However, the tomato plants are bushy, lying on their side, and bearing many small fruits that are resting on the ground. Outline 3 other cultural practices that are necessary for the tomato plants to produce large and plentiful fruits, and give 1 benefit of each practice. Alright, so the cultural practice that Farmer Jane can practice is pruning. So pruning is the removal of unwanted plant parts, and what pruning will do is it will make the fruits bigger, because they will remove excess stems and leaves that will take nutrients from the fruits. So the fruits will get bigger, and also ventilation will increase, so the plant fruits will not split due to too much moisture. Cultural practice number 2, Farmer Jane could do staking. And what staking does is to provide support for the plants, taking them up off the ground, lifting them up off the ground. So the farmer could use sticks or cord. And the benefit of doing that is that they would be in less contact with germs from the soil, and thus preventing them from rotting. The third cultural practice that Farmer Jane could practice is mulching, organic mulching, right? So you could do organic and you could do inorganic. Now the best one is the organic mulching. And the benefits for doing that is that mulching keep moisture in the soil, and tomatoes, they are succulent plants, thus need constant supply of water. So mulching is very important, and mulching means covering the soil. So you could use like dry grass, etc. All right, so let's go to question number 4. A supermarket chain approaches Farmer Greg to supply it with high quality slicing cucumbers. 1. Identify 3 characteristics of cucumbers that would indicate that they are ready for harvesting. Alright, so one here it says having even color throughout. So the color should look green throughout, not green and white. Second one here it says very little spines for bump varieties. So you don't want your spines to be a lot or too close. You want them spacing out a more, and that would say they are not too young or too old. Alright, and they should be firm, not soft. Alright, second part of question number 4 says advise farmer Greg on 2 post-harvest practices that he can implement to maintain the quality of his harvested cucumbers to ensure that they reach the supermarket in good condition. So post-harvest practice means after you harvest your crops. So what measures you should take to make sure they remain firm, fresh, unbruised, and so forth. Alright, so 1, you could store it in a cool area. 2, clean, well ventilated area. So airflow again will make sure that there is not too much moisture in the air to speed up the decomposing process of the cucumber. And the third point, no bruising or squeezing. So what they could do is that they do not stack too much on each other. You don't want to pack up too much cucumbers on each other, because those at the top will squeeze those at the bottom. Alright, so you have to take precaution in how he packs the cucumbers and how we transport them as well. Alright, B of the question goes, Kashar produces seedlings for sale at the agri shop in town. He notices that in some of the plants, the stem tissues near the soil surface is water soaked and weakened, and the seedlings are toppled over. 1. Identify the disease that may be affecting the seedlings. Alright, so one here is that it says root rot, and that is caused by water logged soil. So when there's too much water in the soil, the roots will start to rot. They will catch a fungus, and the fungus will rot the roots. Alright, 2. Explain 2 ways in which this disease can be managed by Kashar plant nursery. 1 is to improve water drainage of the soil medium. Alright, so he has to ensure that the medium, the soil that he uses for the seedlings, it's draining properly. And 2, select healthy, strong seedlings. And 3, apply fungicide to the soil and seedlings. So he should always have a program where he applies fungicide. Don't wait till the disease occur. Apply the fungicides before. Apply them on a program. So maybe every 3 weeks, every 2 weeks, etc. Alright, so here we have question number 5. Alright, so question 5a goes, figure 2 shows the digestive system of a farm animal. 1. Give one example of a farm animal in the tropics whose digestive system is similar to the one shown in figure 2. Alright, so this is a ruminant digestive system. Alright, and ruminants, they have 4 stomachs. So rumen, reticulum, omasum, abomasum. So that's a complex stomach. So animals like goats, sheep, cattle would have this digestive system. Alright. Part 2, it says state one function of the part labeled A. So A is the rumen, which is the largest part of the stomach, and here fermentation occurs, right? So it says for fermentation. So remember, the rumen, it is also referred to as a fermentation vat, which means that food is broken down by microbes like protozoans, fungi, bacteria, etc. So in this type of digestion, you will not have a lot of enzyme reactions. You have microbes doing the digestion here, right? So it is also important that you note the part of the stomach that is referred to as the true stomach is the part that involves the use of digestive enzymes to break down the food. So this part here, the abomasum here, would be the true stomach of the ruminant, because this is where a lot of digestive enzymes are used to break down the food. Alright, so let's move to the next question. Alright, part 3 of the question says, suggest 2 reasons why the roughage component is limited in the ration of the young animals with the digestive system as shown in figure 2. Alright, so the young animals, the microbe component is not yet established in the rumen. So in their rumen, because they are young, there are not enough microbes to do fermentation, right? And 2, there is a reticular groove that bypass the rumen. Young animals, milk is passed from the esophagus to the reticulum. Alright, so let's take a quick look back on the diagram. Let me show you where the reticular groove would be. Alright, so this is the rumen. This part here would be the esophagus. Right, so the reticular groove would be a small part from the esophagus here to the reticulum here. So when the animal suck their milk, when they ingest the milk, it will not go into the rumen because the milk is already in a broken down state. So it will bypass the rumen here and just go straight into the reticulum. So that's why it is called a reticular groove. Alright, let's move to B of the question. It says, figure 3 shows the digestive system for a broiler bird. Alright, so that's the broiler bird. You have B here, you have the esophagus here, the vent here. Alright, so let's see what it says. It says, what is the function of the part labeled B in figure 3? So B here would be the gizzard, because so the esophagus would be there. This would be the crop right here, and then you have the proventriculus right here, and then the gizzard. So the gizzard is part of the stomach, right? And that is where churning and grinding of food takes place. So if you recall, is that birds, they don't have teeth. So in order to grind the food, they have a gizzard that will do the job. Alright, so let's move on. Part 2 of the question goes, a farmer provides grit, small stones in the diet of layers. How does grit aid in the digestion in the layers? Alright, so as I said, birds don't have teeth, so the gizzard alone may not do the work. So birds normally ingest stones. If you put them out in natural life, they will normally eat stones, ingest stones, because they need the stones to grind the food. So let's go to the answer. It breaks feed into smaller parts, thus will aid chemical digestion by increasing the surface area of the feed. Alright, the third part of the question says, a farmer observes cannibalism among his broiler birds and is advised by the extension officer to adjust his management practices. Explain 2 management practices that the farmer may use to prevent cannibalism among his broiler birds. So number 1 is debeaking. So a piece of the beak is removed. Alright? And what that will do is that it prevents the chicks from pecking on each other. And 2, adequate spacing. Ensure chicks get enough space. Overstocking can make chicks stressed. So normally when the chicks are too close with each other, they will get bored and stressed and start pecking on each other. If they were in a open area, they would not do cannibalism. Alright, so question 6 here goes, Farmer Cushy is rearing tilapia in a pond. An extension officer has concern about the nutritional status of the fish. A. Outline 3 factors that must be considered in siting earthen ponds for tilapia production. Alright, number 1 that the farmer should consider is the type of soil. Of course, the clay soil is the best soil for fish pond because the particles stack close, they swell when they are wet, and they hold water more. It encourages less drainage of water. And number 2, the water supply. If you're going to do it fish farming, you need water supply. Alright, you need to make sure you can have fresh supply of water. And 3, the type of feed and the market location that you want. Where your market is located is very important because more traveling would means your fish would be more expensive. Alright, part B of the question. Outline two observations that may have caused the extension officer to have concern about the nutritional status of the tilapia and advise farmer Kushi on three factors to consider when providing proper nutrition for the fish. Alright, observation: the pond's not growing enough feed, and two, the fish were not looking healthy or growing fast. Alright, factors to consider is a balanced nutrition, and two, the supply of feed, access to balanced meal. So in order for them to grow fast, if they're not growing according to schedule or the normal rate, then it means that their nutrition may be affected. So they would need to focus on the balanced nutrition. Alright, so this is the end of the paper. Please remember to share, like, encourage your students, your peers to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.